We're at the beginning of a critical juncture of time, a time when we as a species are being, you could almost say, genetically redesigned by forces of divine light. For quite a long time, when I first started doing my work, all my work was about working with energy to clear the karmic distortion from people's energy fields. For the last probably 7 or 8 years, it has not really been that. It has been about remodeling the body's energy fields to allow for this transition, which is now occurring, which is switching on the capacity within us, within our DNA code, to become revitalized, to be regenerated. So in the bigger picture, just to summarize again, is that we're going through this process of change called ascension, which is a human species upgrade, which is beginning very strongly now, and in the next few years, 7 years, like 2026 to 2033, it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger as the Earth and everybody on the Earth is exposed to stronger and stronger frequencies of light, which are coming from divine mind. It's a God creation exercise. You know, we spoke a few days ago about the comet 3i Atlas.
Yes.
This is more than just a celestial object. It's a powerful cosmic messenger. Many channelers and spiritual people consider it to be a catalyst for consciousness shift, a bringer of interstellar light codes, a bringer of vibrational information, which is going to awaken us to higher levels of human consciousness.
Welcome, Judy. It's such a pleasure to have you here. And you've been sharing transmissions and teachings from the higher dimensional sources for decades now. And your work has touched people all over the world. You're a Kiwi, but you've really become quite an international phenomenon. And so I would just love for those of you who might be new to you and to your work, if you could quickly describe what you do and how it began.
Okay, thank you, Susie. My work began nearly 30 years ago. I didn't expect it to happen at all. I was actually a marketing and public relations consultant at the time, but I got a brochure in the mail, and it was about a Learn to Channel, which is about learning to connect to spirit workshop that was going to be held in Auckland in New Zealand. And there's something within me that felt I just have to go to this workshop. I just have to do this. There was a lot of change going on in my life at the time, but there was something quite compelling. So I tried to find where the workshop was, but I was late, couldn't find the place. There was a lot of stressful things that happened in my life that day. And I sat in a coffee shop drinking a latte and thinking, oh, I'm just not going to go. And then a little voice in my head said, this always happens to you, Judy. You want to do these things, you want to change your life, and then you back out at the last minute. So something inside my brain said, okay, I'm not going to back out this time. I'm not going to go home and sit here in the cafe and read the paper all day. I'm actually going to find this place. And I did actually within about 3 to 5 minutes, which was interesting. But this workshop that I took then, it was 1997, it actually changed my life, because the person taking the workshop, who was from Australia, said, when you learn to channel, when you learn to connect more deeply with spirit, your life will change. It will not be as it has been, and it will completely transform. And everything will open up in the way that's intended by your soul, because when we come into this lifetime, it's our soul that sets the template for this current life and what we're here to learn and what we're here to overcome and what we're here to create and achieve. And so my soul had definitely pushed me to go to this 2-day workshop. And there I met a being. When I say met, I could see a tall man with a little black beard and wearing a purple robe and brownish skin in my inner sight. And I heard a voice that said to me, my name is Balthazar. I didn't know who Balthazar really was, Susan, but in the days that followed, I became much more connected to Balthazar, because when Balthazar's energy touched into my own auric field, my energy field, I started to shake quite violently. And I started to see and I started to hear. And what happened, even over the course of that weekend, what actually happened was that Balthazar's voice came very clearly through me. It wasn't my voice. And when Balthazar's energy, his energy signature, connected to my energy field, I started to shake and speak in this strange tongue. So I found that I was saying things to the people in the class that I didn't know because I didn't know these people, but they were true. And so I started to trust this guy, Balthazar, and I discovered that he was actually one of the Magi, one of the three wise men at the birth of Jesus, which was incredibly wonderful. And for the whole of next year, Balthazar taught me about many things spiritually. He opened me up. And then he passed me on to other teachers, a being who told me he was my teacher in Atlantis. And then all of the ascended masters, really, one by one, and many of the angels and the archangels, they all came to me for a time. And I started to teach workshops in Takapuna in Auckland weekly. A lot of people started to come along. So that was how it all began for me. It wasn't what I thought. And, you know, it was 5 years before I started to speak the languages of light. And that was automatic too. Just happened one day when I least expected. So I think that was a real understanding to me, and for all of us really as human beings, that we don't necessarily know what's ahead for us in life, and we just have to trust the process. And I think when we're going through periods of really critical inner change, it can feel really stressful. It can feel like we're in overwhelm because there's a part of us, the soul part of us, the higher self part of us, that knows that we are set for a completely new beginning, a complete revelation, a complete reset of everything about our life, the way it might have been in the past, but we don't know. So this is quite challenging, really. And this time on the planet that we're living through right now, the years 2025, 26 to 33, it's an incredible time of change and transition and new beginnings, many new beginnings, one after another, really, for many of us. And what we're being asked to do is completely just be and trust that we are okay, that God, many beings of light are on our side, that we are not alone in this process. I call this process ascension. Many people do, but it doesn't mean that we're going up or going anywhere. What it really means is that we are expanding into a more of the truth of who we are as humans. You know, this human evolutionary upgrade called ascension is really about expanding consciousness so that we see ourselves not as this small little person living this human life in this particular lifetime, but as an eternal soul who's lived many lifetimes and is now bringing the wisdom and the knowledge, knowing of many of these positive lifetimes into our human experience today. And I think that's the most exciting thing, really, because this time period that we're all living through, it comes at the end of 4 great ages of time, like 4 great cycles, really, of Earth precession, which is almost 26,000 years in length, each cycle. So we're at the end of approximately 100,000 years of this incredible beginning or preparation for what is now happening. It's beyond our comprehension. We just think we're living life the way we always live life. But this lifetime, this experience in human bodies, this time on Earth, is extremely important and beyond what we've ever had, really, or ever experienced in human form.
I want to just intersect there because there's something you said that I find kind of fascinating, and about ascension. And I feel that in many cases, ascension is seen as going somewhere. And I think that's worth unpacking a little bit, simply because, ascension is like going up, going out, going going somewhere. But it is here and now in a way. Am I right in thinking that?
Right. And ascension really can be defined as an incredible evolutionary upgrade for the human species. Physically, because our physical bodies are being rebuilt by divine light to a certain extent. You know, everybody's different and everybody's at different stages, and it's not all going to happen for everybody, I don't think, in this particular lifetime. But for those of us that are at the forefront of this change, pioneering this change, yes, our physical bodies are going through significant shifts, which sometimes can feel very uncomfortable, but also are destined to be very exciting. At the same time, our human capacity, which I'm really talking about our human genome, our DNA code, is being activated by divine light to shift into a more advanced expression of what it is to be a human being. This is not just in this lifetime either. This will probably go on for hundreds of years or maybe thousands of years, but we're at the beginning of a critical juncture of time, a time when we as a species are being, you could almost say, genetically redesigned by forces of divine light to become so much more than we have ever known ourselves to be. You know, we've been affected. We know what karma is. Most people know what karma is. Karma is the law of cause and effect, but karma is also the distorted energy that is vibrating in our energy field, which comes into the physical body in the cells and as cellular memory, akashic cellular memory, and also vibrates in our energy field and the roots and facets of the chakras. And this is the trauma energy, or the situations of stress or trauma that have caused distortion to our being from some past life. And for quite a long time, when I first started doing my work, all my work was about working with energy to clear the karmic distortion from people's energy fields. For the last probably 7 or 8 years, it has not really been that. It has been about remodeling the body's energy fields to allow for this transition, which is now occurring, which is switching on the capacity within us, within our DNA code, to be more vital, to become revitalized, to be regenerated to a degree. You know, how long is a piece of string? Because honestly, we're just in our human bodies now, and from our perspective, looking forward, we don't know. You know, in the 90s, we didn't know that there would be the internet. We didn't know we would be on cell phones, social media. There are so many technological advancements which are yet to come because they're aligned and meant to come at this time. People will be bringing through new technologies, new ideas, because their soul is deliberately incarnated in this lifetime, at this time, to do these things, you see. So it's particularly interesting. You know, we have AI becoming incredibly out there on our planet. It's AI technology, but there's also a divine AI,
Yes,
which is aligned and in tandem with this AI that human beings are creating. They're working together. You know, as we are able to receive information very quickly through AI technology, so we are also beginning to receive information into our brain, into our consciousness, through the pineal and through other receiving apparatus within our medulla oblongata and other aspects of the brain. This new information is energetic information, which is still digital. It's like a code of energy which is bombarding us with certain frequencies that are activating a shift in cognition, like a shift in how we see ourselves in the world, who we really are. You know, we are no longer who we used to be. We don't quite know where we're going or who we're becoming, but we do know that we're going through incredible change, like everybody does. It's within us, but it's also out there on our planet. Every country is going through change in certain ways. And I guess we just have to ride the waves of change. That's what I would say. Ride the waves of change. And I think one of the important things to help us ride the waves of change is realizing that we are not alone, that we are not just these little human people living here on this planet Earth, that there are beings from other star systems, other galaxies, who are here with us, and they are supporting us completely and utterly through this process. Everything that is happening here is divinely designed to happen and occur at this time. And I think one of the roles that I am asked to play by Spirit really is to help people feel the truth that is within them, really. Because when we feel the truth that is within us, when we connect to this sense of knowing that this is true, then what is happening to us, all the challenges in our lives, and we all have them, are not so, in our face, should I say, they're not so hard to bear. It's easier to understand if we understand the bigger picture. So the bigger picture, just to summarize again, is that we're going through this process of change called ascension, which is a human species upgrade, which is beginning very strongly now, and in the next few years, 7 years, like 2026 to 2033, it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger as the Earth and everybody on the Earth is exposed to stronger and stronger frequencies of light, which are coming from divine mind. It's a God creation exercise. We spoke a few days ago about the comet 3i Atlas.
Yes.
Well, this is for people that don't know, I'm sure many people will, this is more than just a celestial object. It's a powerful cosmic messenger. Many channelers and spiritual people consider it to be a catalyst for consciousness shift, a bringer of interstellar light codes, a bringer of vibrational information, which is going to awaken us to higher levels of human consciousness. You could say perfectly divinely designed to appear in our solar system at this time. It's like a wake-up call for us. It's like carrying God codes of galactic wisdom that are designed to help with these changes that we're all going through. It's incredible. It actually originates from outside of our solar system. It's moving very fast. It exhibits quite bizarre behavior, like it's almost lighting up as it comes closer. It's interesting. So there's a lot going on that is beyond what we know right now, really.
Can we, to optimize this incredible time, what can we do? Is it just a case of saying, I accept it, please, yes, please, is to our higher self and higher beings?
I feel that what we can do most is to trust ourselves, to go into stillness. And that doesn't mean heavy-duty meditation necessarily. That means to allow ourselves to not do all the time, but to allow ourselves to be, to walk in nature, to enjoy simple things in life, to go inwards rather than outwards, to maybe not spend as much time on digital devices, because that's linking us to energies out there that are coming into our energy field, which can be very hard to handle vibrationally, because those frequencies are increasingly out of sync with our vibrational frequencies, you see, as we are being upgraded by love energy, joy, peace, love. And if we are too exposed to Wi-Fi and energies that are not at that vibration, it's certainly harmful to us. Not so much harmful like we're going to get cancer and die or anything like that, but harmful to our evolutionary consciousness experience, which means that we might feel a bit stressed and not feel as well as we might. So being in nature, walking, being grounded on our planet, because we are energy conduits. We've got a human body, but we also have an energy field. And that energy field, we're conduits between above, the energy coming in from, we could call them heavenly realms, could call it heavenly realms, but we're also we're a conduit between below, from this place within the inner earth that holds the stabilizing pulse rhythms of the earth that I call a menti. And so we are conduits. So the more we can anchor ourselves on terra firma, the better, actually. The better we will feel, the easier this process will be for us. And also to deliberately create the vibrations of love just by thinking it. Peace, joy, to do things that are joyful, to surround ourselves with beauty, love, joy, light, really. It's all part of it.
I want to talk a little bit about a mentee just before we go on, because I've got so many subjects here with you. But a mentee is as you said, your description or word for inner earth. And I'm curious as to inner earth not just being, as we've been taught by science, a layered situation to a molten core, if you like, that there is a whole other realm under there in which there are other beings, there's a other way of being. Can you shed any light on that? Have you seen any of that or experienced any of that?
I haven't directly experienced it visually, but there are people who have been to the inner earth. Admiral Byrd, for example, wrote before he died. He was a very decorated World War II admiral, and he wrote before he died about the inner earth and have his plane actually being drawn magnetically into the inner earth and beings talking to him. And he did release this information on the internet, or it was on the internet. Whether it is still, I don't know. From my experience, my direct experience, years ago, I drove to Cape Cod in the USA for Thanksgiving. And I had a really strange experience on that day because I was told by the person with me that Cape Cod was in direct alignment to Talos, the underground city under Mount Shasta. Mm-hmm. And I went into a meditation which began at 10 o'clock. And I passed out, really. I felt that I was being taken to Talos. I have no memory of what happened in there, but I felt Adama and other beings from that underground city around me. Then I just lost consciousness in my human knowledge. But when I woke up, in those days I was wearing a watch, and my watch had stopped at 10 o'clock. But it hadn't actually stopped. It was 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. in the morning when I woke up on the floor. Mm-hmm. And my watch was still ticking, but it said 10 p.m. It said 10 o'clock, but it was 2 a.m. So that was very interesting to me because it seemed to me that I had lost time, or my watch had lost time, that I'd gone somewhere. Mm-hmm. I've recorded a number of journeys to a mentee with spirit where in guided meditation people are taken to a mentee for their regeneration, for their insight. And years ago, one of the first things I ever did in the 90s was to go to a series of workshops in New Zealand called the Melchizedek Method, which was taught by someone from Sydney. And at that workshop, we were asked in guided meditation we were taken to a mentee, and we were taken in the meditation to stand before the Lords of a mentee, the 7 Lords of a mentee, and then in meditation to say our name, like softly to ourselves, and to introduce ourselves to the Lords of a mentee. So I opened my mouth to say hello, like my name is Judy, but out of my mouth came, my name is Yaisha, child of light. Which I'd never heard in my life. And I didn't know anything about the children of light. But now I do. And the children of light came to this planet eons ago, in the beginning, when Earth was a place called Tara. When Earth was fifth-dimensional Tara, the children of light, who were not human, they were light beings who took on form, came to the Earth, Tara. We couldn't hold the light on Tara, because there was something that happened called the fall, F-A-L-L, the fall, which is described as the rebellion of the fallen angels, and the time when Tara, fifth dimensional beautiful Tara, contracted in vibration, descended, you could say, and became third dimensional Earth. So it's not surprising, looking back at that time, that I and many, many others on the planet at the time were probably children of light who were here in the time of Tara and decided to incarnate as human beings, probably around 100,000 years ago, to be on Earth now, to be human, so that we could, at this divinely appointed time of Earth upliftment, so that the Earth is shifting from third dimensional vibration to fifth dimensional vibration, at this divinely appointed time of ascension, Earth shift, and humanity's shift, to be here to play our part, because we were probably very upset that we couldn't hold the light and we had to leave the planet for all this long period of time. I think that's probably going back about 650,000 years ago. That's what I've always got from Spirit, is the time period. But I don't know.
This is an interesting point to segue into Sunshine Before the Dawn, which of course is your book that you wrote. Now, you wrote this quite some time ago, and I only read it this year, at the very beginning of this year. And my feeling was, it was like an activation. First of all, I felt, oh, this is a lovely story. This is kind of fun. It felt like being told a story, and it was in your voice as well. I listened to the audiobook, which I loved. And then I thought, this isn't just a story. It dawned on me, from, excuse the pun, but it dawned on me, this is not just a story. That I'm listening to this right now is incredibly pertinent, because it's the backstory to where we are right now. So it's a beautiful origin story, and tell us a little bit about it. And Essayenya, who is of course the lead character, if you like. And Judy, are you Essayenya?
I believe I am. I didn't know that when I wrote the story initially, because what happened was I was living in upstate New York in the Finger Lakes region, and I was living in a house overlooking the lake there, one of the lakes, and just sitting on the deck one night. It was the fall, in America. It was September, early September 2010, and I was sitting looking out over the lake, and it was dusk, and I saw a large orb of light just hovering over the lake. It was almost stationary, like it looked like it wasn't really moving. It certainly wasn't a plane, it was far too big. So it was just hovering there. And as I watched it, a beam of energy came and hit me in the throat, like there, and it almost knocked me over. And then I heard a voice speaking to me telepathically, and the voice was saying, we're coming soon. Well, first of all, the voice said that he was the commander of a Galactic Federation starship. And he said to me, we're coming soon to tell you a story, and we want you to write it and share it with everybody. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. But so fast forward to January, nothing happened really until January. But early morning, it was about 5 a.m. on a very cold January morning, I saw this orb of light above the lake again. And I heard the voice say, it's time to get up and begin to write, which was interesting, because sometimes we can't, this was a example to me that we can't plan when these things happen. Sometimes they've got their own life. They happen when they happen. So I was a little bit resistant, because it was winter, and the first morning I didn't get up, actually. But the second morning that it came, I did. And I said, okay. So I went downstairs, made some coffee, sat in front of the computer, and said, okay, what do you want me to write? Well, it just came thick and fast. The words were like taking dictation. And the first word that I heard was the dreamers, 100,000 years ago. And the story started with a meeting in the time of Zeptifi, which means the first times. And the meeting was on the star Antares, and it was a meeting of the Galactic Council of this Milky Way galaxy, and they'd assembled from many star systems to discuss a problem concerning Earth. And the problem was that 100,000 years ago, the existing beings living on Earth were not human. They were maybe humanoid, but they weren't human, modern human like we are today. And because they didn't have the pineal gland, which is the crystalline gland in the brain that can be reached by spiritual forces, by divine light, it's like our transmitting and receiving system from beyond the beyond the beyond, they couldn't be reached, they couldn't be upgraded. Earth couldn't be upgraded back into fifth dimensional vibration. They were going nowhere, basically. They had introduced about 200,000 years ago humanoid type species onto the planet, and even going back about 800, 500, 400. Of course, we can't find their skeletons now, but there have been many attempts to upgrade Earth's people with a race that will advance Earth. So 100,000 years ago, nothing had really taken. It worked, and so they were worried. And there was a woman from Sirius, from the star Sirius, her name was Essayenia, representing Sirius, and she and a few others put forward a plan which was to create a new species for Earth that they decided to call the human, because Hu, like Hu, Hu is a sound that means of God. So the human was to be a deliberately designed, deliberately engineered species to be deliberately seeded upon the Earth 100,000 years ago, so that they could, over a long period of time, intermarry, intermingle with the existing root races of the Earth. And eventually, the human DNA code, or the human genetic code, because of course DNA wasn't a word then, but the human genetic code of these human people could be sparked by a more expanded, stronger, more potent divine light to become the avatar humans, the true God humans in human bodies that I believe that we as humankind are meant to be. And this time it's now, you see. So we had to go through the 100,000 years of the human being seated on the earth, 100,000 years of living lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of really being affected by karma, of cause and effect, the energetic cause and effect from lifetime to lifetime, of not really necessarily being able to, certainly not being able to fully remember who we really are. See, A Sunshine Before the Dawn is a book, as you quite rightly say, Susie, which is coded. It's coded. The words are coded to help people remember their truth. Mm. That's why I'm offering it free access to all people to listen to the audiobook, because it's a story about ourselves. It's a story that is going to help us to go through this time of change that we're going through, because when we remember the truth of our authentic human beginnings, then we see that we, at this moment in this life, we are like a cog in the wheel of change, and we chose to do this. It's not about, it is about our human lives. We should be living happy, joyful human lives, which is a lot of what Spirit wants for us. But the first step has to be to understand our timeless, eternal soul aspect and reconnect to that. Because then we can take the wisdom and the knowledge that we've had in previous lifetimes, which is now what's happening to many people. When people latch on a new technology, or they get this sudden discovery, and there's going to be a lot of technological discoveries in the years ahead, particularly the next 7 or 8 to 10 years, because this is a time of incredible shift. It's not that they're suddenly dreaming it up. They've probably known this from some other star system, and many people are little children being born now, maybe haven't had many lifetimes on Earth, some of them. They've come direct from some star somewhere, or even another galaxy, to incarnate on Earth. And that's probably why it's so difficult for many little children today, because they don't fit with the way we've been taught to live here. And they don't fit with the energy. They don't necessarily fit with the schooling system. That's not who they are. It's challenging.
I think there are quite a few parents and individuals who are going to be able to really identify with that and almost that feeling of imposter syndrome too, you know, that sense of, why am I here? This is not my home. I know I've felt that my entire life. When are we done? You know?
It's quite, I think a lot of people to me say that they, not a lot, but some say they wish they could beam up. But there's a plan, you know, we don't beam up until it's time for us to beam up. You know, there's a plan for us being here. And I feel excited really because I feel that this time period, 2025, 26, 27, in the years ahead, it's a powerful time of becoming who we really meant to be and letting go of what is not important or not needed in our lives, to honor the authentic truth within our heart, within our soul, to step forward and to be of service the way our soul is guiding us, not the way someone might be telling us or not the way we might have lived our life in the past, which is hard to do sometimes. It's not an easy thing to go through change, and it's even harder to go through change when we don't know where that change is taking us, because, you know, we have to survive financially, we have to pay taxes, we have to live, we have to eat. It's not easy to be human right now, really. I think what I'd like to do, if you would like me to, is bring through some energy, because what Spirit the guys that are speaking to me now, they're always around me, are saying to me most is they really want to help people to feel that there's something going on inside of them and to feel the truth of that. So what they're asking me to do is just speak, but they're asking everybody who's listening to just put your hand on your heart chakra. This is about activating your own authentic truth, because every being is important. Every human is important. Every person has something to contribute to this time of change. So this is what they say. Mako ishti la kajli sira bela kodala. Ameda ka ishti sta kada kada kudukuta. Matoko sta la kodada. Abeda kotaka sta la kodala kadexu so la kadi. Akada kada kudushi kodala kada tu. Akada kada kada klak shokada sokada kada kada ki. Akadakadakadakulaha ishti lakadakisi koti alakodakadi ishtadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadakadak whether they're ascended masters, whether they're archangels from the spiritual dimensions, whether they're highly evolved extraterrestrial races, they all operate together, and they're trying to support us. They're trying to help take the blinkers off our eyes, so that we can see a more expanded, bigger picture of who we are, of what our truth is, of what the human being is actually capable of, because our human selves, we're capable of so much more than we know right now. And this is what's being activated and re-engineered within us. I thought a few years ago that it was a matter of activating previously dormant DNA within the trillions of cells in our body and activating that potential. But it's more than that. It's that we're actually being genetically, divinely redesigned. This redesign hasn't really begun yet. It will start to begin in 2026 and beyond, because the year 2026 is a very powerful time of change, but it's also 2 and 6 are 8. Numerologically, it's to do with success. It's to do with divine light. 888 in gematria is the number code, if you like, for Jesus Christ. So 888, it's a very powerful code of upgrade and success. And what I'm getting in my head to say right now is we ain't seen nothing yet.
Yay.
I feel that these years since 2020, when we had the COVID scare, the pandemic on the planet, have been pretty tough for people because it's been a lot of change going on in our physical bodies. At times we feel really unwell, we feel sick, we're scared for what's going on for us. Maybe whether we've got some disease or something. Because of the energy coming through to the planet in these years, it has been harder for our physical body structure to cope, to ward off distortion, to remain healthy. But as of 2026, there is a fulcrum shift, a big pivot of change where we will start to feel better and better and stronger and stronger. So they say, do not be concerned, you will overcome this. Not speaking to all of us, really. It's not about a diminishing and a contraction, it's about an expansion. But we're at this time, as you and I are talking, as we prepare to go into 2026 and 2027 and beyond, we're at a time of preparation, which is affecting all of us, and particularly those that are sensitive physically and emotionally. And this is making us feel a bit scared or wobbly. But it will pass. Spirits say this too will pass. It is not lasting. All is well. And to help us understand that all is well, they just want to speak a bit more language, but they're asking us to put our fingertips here on the third eye, between the eyebrows, because it's about creating a new vision for our future, which is not coming from the intellect, but coming from the heart. So instead of having to do something, all we have to do is feel that we are healthy, feel that we are radiant, feel that we have all the money that we need, feel that we have the house that we want. Feel it, visualize it, but don't do it from your head, do it from your heart. And what Spirit want me to bring through for all of us, everybody, is like an energy magnetic, which is going to attract this reality to us. When we generate the energy of pure heart creation, then we will pull to us this added vibration that is being instilled within the energy circuitry of our bodies now to manifest this much more quickly. So it's as simple as feeling what we want to feel. Don't have to do anything. It's just going to pull to us automatically. Beautiful. So this is the energy, if you like. So this is what they want to say now. Just fingertips on the third eye because it's going in there. Koti a esto isti la kodu. A metakata zako a ostu. A kotakata badakala tisi the badakata. A kotakata kista sticky. A katakata dash sticky. A katakata badash sticky. A kataki. A katakata isi. A kodalaki. Akadakadisakate, akadakadisakate, akodalakajido kodalaki, akazekijtakazabitikiaka. Matia. Those words just mean you are loved, you are blessed. Like all is well. So when I did that, did you experience anything?
Actually, interesting, quite pressure through, no, not horrible pressure, just a sense of almost as if somebody was just gently pushing in here. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. So a physical manifestation maybe of that, and a little fluttering in the heart as well. Yeah.
Being told this is just a little helpful gift for us
to
go through these changes more easily. So every time we just sit and tune into the heart, and if you're having a rough day and something's happened, just speak to yourself the reverse of what's happening. Like, for example, if you've had a bad day at work, just say, my time in the office flows beautifully and easily and everybody is happy and well, and it is simple for me to do my work, and just feel that. But this energy that's been instilled will help this to come true, really, to manifest more quickly.
To manifest, yeah.
We just have to put the the instructions in, like the avatar humans, the God creator humans that we're meant to be, which is what we're becoming now. We're becoming creators. We just have to remember really how to create. And this is what, in a way, Sunshine Before the Dawn is teaching us as well, the book, the audio book, which I would love to give everybody access to, because there's a code in there which is a creation code. It's called Miasmia Yanonia Yacinte. Miasmia Yanonia Yacinte. And this creation code, when we actually speak it, it helps to activate and manifest what we want and create within our own heart. We're creating within the heart mind, you see, the mind of the heart. And we just connect to the heart mind by just saying, with the power of God that I am, I connect to my heart mind, my God mind within me, my heart mind. And through my heart mind, I connect to God mind, which is the universe, really. And that's all we really have to do, is just more a state of being than a state of being in action.
Yeah. I really feel aligned to that advice, a state of being, that in fact love is a state of being.
Yes.
Gratitude is a state of being. It's a state of being rather than doing in many ways. And although both go hand in hand. So it's fascinating this, how your codes, I mean, I've worked within your Ascension Library now quite a bit this year, a lot. And I would advise everyone to go on and explore the Ascension Library that you have, because it's like a treasure chest of things, of activations and processes that you can dive into for whatever you feel you need at the moment. And they are like fine-tuning. It's like fine-tuning, really, is how I would put it. It's really powerful, Judy. And what is incredibly amazing too, and you really get when you go through that Ascension Library, and some of the recordings are from quite long ago and some are really recent. It's a real mashup in that sense. There's your specific ability to be in that moment and be really what I would call courageous, in the sense that you don't know what's going to come in. And even today, you don't know, I know you and I both organizers and quite like to be well organized in advance. But the letting go of that sometimes just has to be part of the process, and allowing and accepting and being courageous to allow and accept what is coming through and what you're accessing is actually incredibly beneficial, incredibly helpful.
Thank you, Susie. Yes, it is a bit confronting when the spiritual guides who have always been with me, actually for 30 years, say to me, we don't want you to read any of Susie's questions. Because the human part of me thinks, oh, but I can't be prepared if I don't. I want to be prepared. Every person wants to do a good job. So, and I want to do well for you, Susie, as well. So when I get that information, it's a little confronting, but I'm increasingly being asked to just step forward and open my heart now and trust that what I speak out of my mouth is what is meant to come out of my mouth. Because what Spirit are saying to me right at this moment is that there is so much ahead, and they can't bring this information, which is new information, through me as the vessel, the channel, unless I completely surrender and step sideways. Now, I've never been an unconscious trance channel. Sometimes it would be easier if you were an unconscious trance channel like Casey, because then your mind wouldn't get engaged. My mind has always had to get engaged because I'm also doing energy healing work and I need to know what I'm doing. But in the doing of what the two little energy sequences that I did before, I don't know what I'm doing in advance. I'm just hearing in my mind the knowing that I need to bring this through. But until I open my mouth and wave my hands around, I actually don't know what I'm going to say or the outcome. And that's one of the reasons I asked you what you're feeling, you see. Not because I doubt what they're doing, but because I used to, but because it helps me to understand the process of change that I'm also going through, and also being asked to go through as I also am being tasked really to step forward in a much more powerful way than I ever have, and trust some of these maybe unusual things and maybe confrontational things and new information that I have not known in advance. Just speak it out and do it. Nobody wants to be shot down in flames or scientifically or told by scientists that it's not right, do they? So
No.
the same. But I have trusted Spirit for 30 years and I'm not going to stop now. It's very important that we allow ourselves to be and come from the heart, really. I think that was what Jesus, Christ, Yeshua, and Mary Magdalene were teaching us 2,000 years ago. It was pretty tough for her as well, after she lost Jesus and had to leave Palestine and go to southern France. But I'm not alone. There's many hundreds, thousands of people in this category now. We're all being asked to step forward and trust in a much more expanded way than we ever have been asked before. And this is the hard thing, is to let go and let God, quite honestly. Let go, let God.
Yeah. And thank you so much, Judy, for heeding the call, to be honest, because it's very much needed right now, as you said, and you're stepping up. I mean, even next week you're off to New York, and it's another journey that you'll be deep diving into, and who knows what's going to happen. And I think you're very brave, and I absolutely honor what you do. It's wonderful. Thank you. And on that note, I think I'd just like to say, where can people find you? Where can they go? Maybe you just outline that. I will put it in the story notes as well as to links to the Ascension Library and to your website. But they can get in contact with you, and they can come and see you sometimes because you're appearing in places too,
Like in the Ascension Library, there's over 1,000 recordings, and they're all designed to open the heart, activate consciousness, regenerate the body, heal the body. There's so much there, working with many of the ascended masters that I've worked with over the years. Their little teaching is there, like the transcripts of Mary Magdalene, and soon to come a new way forward with Mary Magdalene, as she also is there, waiting in the wings to help us all in our human form step forward, just as she did 2,000 years ago in France. So I'm very grateful for speaking with you and others today, Susie. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
And thank you, and go well, and let's get together again, because I just think there's going to be updates. Look, as you say, as of now, from here on, we're evolving.
You totally are. And it's exponentially, rapidly increasing. That evolutionary upgrade is just speeding up. Out of all, the momentum is speeding up outside of our comprehension and understanding of what's happened in the past, beyond this entirely. So watch the space, really. From 2026, watch this. March 2026, watch the space. Now we're getting prepared. Okay. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Much love.
Thank you.